Harlan was heading back from physical therapy when he heard his son's voice coming from the administrator's office. The door was cracked open, and Wayne was talking on his phone. What Harlan heard next made him stop cold in his wheelchair. "The closing is in 3 weeks. Yeah, he has no idea we listed it. By the time he figures anything out, the house will be sold, and the money will be in our accounts." The house Harlan had owned for 43 years. The house he'd paid off working as a union organizer, one paycheck at a time. His own son was stealing it. And based on what Wayne said next, the nursing home was helping them do it. Harlan rolled back to his room, and for the first time in decades, he did something that surprised even himself. He smiled, because Wayne had just made the worst mistake of his life. Harlan watched his roommate Oscar sign papers without reading them. Oscar's daughter stood over him, flipping pages fast. Oscar just nodded and signed. 3 days ago, Oscar had been sharp, telling Navy stories with perfect recall. Now his eyes were glassy. After the daughter left, Harlan asked what he'd signed. Oscar blinked. "Something about the house, I think. I don't remember." A man didn't forget signing away his house. Harlan had seen this before. 50 years as a union organizer, and he'd watched companies use the same tactics on workers. Get them tired and overwhelmed, then push papers in front of them when they couldn't think straight. Isolate them, control the information. This felt exactly the same. Except the workers were elderly people, and the factory floor was Shady Pines nursing home. Harlan had been here 3 weeks. His kids placed him after his wife died 14 months ago. Said he couldn't manage the stairs. He'd been grieving and let them handle everything. Even signed power of attorney without reading it. First time in his life. Yesterday, Wayne called and mentioned the closing date. When Harlan asked what closing, Wayne got quiet and changed the subject fast. What closing? Harlan looked around the common room. Other residents sat in chairs, some watching television, some just staring. How many of them had signed papers they didn't understand? The woman across the hall was watching him. She was in her 70s with silver hair pulled back tight. Her eyes didn't miss anything. When she caught Harlan looking, she motioned him over. She pulled him inside her room and shut the door. "How long have you been here?" she asked. 3 weeks. She nodded. "My name is Nadine. I used to be a paralegal. This place is stealing from residents. They drug us to make us compliant, then work with our families to take our homes and our money. I've watched them do it to 6 people in the last 4 months." Harlan stared at her. Wayne's words came back. The closing date. His house. They were selling his house. "I need to check something," Harlan said. "Do you have internet access?" Nadine pulled out a tablet from her drawer. They hadn't taken it from her yet. Harlan typed in the county assessor's website, found his address. There it was. Listed for sale $320,000. 10 days after his children had placed him here. His own kids were stealing his house, and Shady Pines was helping them do it. Harlan looked up at Nadine. "How much do you know about what's happening here?" She smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Everything. I've been documenting it for weeks. The question is, what are we going to do about it?" For the first time since his wife died, Harlan felt something other than grief. He felt focused. He felt angry, and he felt ready to fight. "We're going to organize," Harlan said, "just like I always have." Nadine spread 3 notebooks across her bed. Each one had names, dates, and observations written in neat handwriting. 6 residents in 4 months, she said. All of them sharp when they arrived. All of them changed after their families pushed paperwork. Nadine showed him the first notebook. Dorothy, 73, arrived sharp in June. After she signed papers, her son's visits dropped off, and she became confused. Her medications weren't for her actual conditions, Nadine said. They were sedatives. Harlan felt that cold feeling again. They're drugging people. It's not random. Watch the pattern. Family visits frequently. Resident signs papers. Medications change within days. They become docile. Family visits drop off. Facility declares them incompetent. Nadine looked at him. Then families sell their houses to cover care costs. Except the money doesn't all go to care. This is a system. Harlan thought about Wayne and the house listing. $320,000, below market value. His house was worth at least $400,000. "Who's buying these houses?" he asked. Nadine pulled up the tablet. "Most go to the same developer, Hartman Properties." Harlan remembered Wayne mentioning that name months ago. Wayne worked in real estate development. "My son knows the buyer. This isn't just theft, it's planned." Nadine nodded. "Administrator Gail Hendricks has done this before. I found her employment history. She worked at 2 other nursing homes that got shut down for financial irregularities." Harlan's hands shook. He'd faced down union bosses and corporate lawyers without this. They're not just stealing my house. They're stealing me. Nadine put her hand over his. That's why we have to stop them. Harlan took a breath. The shaking stopped. You said 6 residents. Are any still here and still sharp? 4. 2 got transferred. But I know 4 others who seem targeted. Their families are starting the same pattern. We need to talk to them, carefully. If staff suspects we're organizing, they'll separate us, increase our medications. Harlan thought about it. 50 years of organizing had taught him one thing. You build quietly, one person at a time. We start with the people you trust most, he said. The ones who are sharp and paying attention. Nadine pulled out a piece of paper. She'd already made a list. Eunice Landry, former nurse. She's been asking questions about her medications. Ruthie Coles, accountant. She noticed billing discrepancies. Delbert Hayes, retired mechanic. Leroy Watkins and Wanda Chen. Both sharp, both recently isolated by families. We exposed them, Harlan said. All of them. But we need proof. Recordings, documents, testimony. Enough that they can't deny it. Nadine looked at him. You really think we can do this? Harlan had spent his whole life fighting organizations that thought they were too powerful to fall. Yes, he said. I do. He had 3 weeks before the competency evaluation. 3 weeks to fight back. Harlan approached Eunice Landry first. She was 69, former nurse, and she'd noticed the medications too. When he asked if she'd help identify which drugs they were using, she didn't hesitate. Sedatives. Low dose, but enough to make you foggy and compliant. Half the people in here are on the same thing. By the end of the week, they had 4 more people. Ruthie Coles, the accountant, joined when she saw the billing fraud. Delbert Hayes was ready to fight after his daughter tried to force a power of attorney on him. Leroy Watkins, a shop foreman for 50 years, said 3 words when Harlan explained, "Tell me what you need." Wanda Chen had been a high school teacher and had been watching the patterns for weeks. They met as a book club. Staff didn't pay attention, just old people reading. What harm could that do? Plenty. Eunice brought her findings first. They're using 3 different sedatives, lorazepam, quetiapine, and trazodone. None of them are indicated for the conditions they're claiming to treat. Ruthie had the financial data. They're charging for services that never happened, physical therapy that doesn't exist, psychiatric evaluations that never occurred. Families are draining residents' accounts. We need recordings, Harlan said. Video or audio of staff admitting what they're doing. Leroy leaned back. My grandson's coming this weekend. He works in tech. 3 days later, Leroy's grandson brought a hidden camera disguised as a photo frame. They placed it in the common room, aimed at the medication station. Over 10 days, they captured everything. Staff talking about keeping residents manageable. A nurse admitting she gave unprescribed medications. Administrator Gale telling staff to increase the dose on room 214, Harlan's room. Nadine found the legal connection. The facility's law firm, Morrison and Associates, specialized in expedited competency evaluations. They worked with families to fast-track the process, for a fee. Wayne Pritchard was on their client list. So were 5 other current residents' families. This is a business model, Nadine said. Families pay the facility. The facility drugs residents and arranges evaluations. The law firm processes paperwork fast. Residents get declared incompetent. Families access the assets. Everyone profits except the people being robbed. Harlan looked at the evidence. Recordings, documents, medication logs, legal connections. It was good. But they needed someone on the outside. Someone the authorities would listen to. Martin Jessup had been the union's attorney for 30 years. During his grandson's next visit, Leroy borrowed the young man's phone and made the call. Martin answered on the second ring. Leroy, that you? It's Harlan Pritchard. I'm in a nursing home. I'm being robbed. My kids, the facility, they're working together. I have proof. Can you come? Silence. Then Martin's voice, hard as steel. Give me the address. I'll be there tomorrow. The next day, Martin showed up as an old friend. Staff didn't question it. Martin's face went pale as he reviewed the evidence. Then red, then cold and focused. This is criminal conspiracy, elder abuse, fraud, all of it. This is enough to take them down. What do we need? Harlan asked. Keep gathering evidence. I'll coordinate with state investigators. We need to time this perfectly. If we move too soon, they destroy evidence. Too late, and they have you declared incompetent. Wayne scheduled my evaluation 3 weeks from now. Martin nodded. Then we have 3 weeks to build an airtight case. The raid was set for Monday. Harlan's evaluation was Wednesday. They had no margin for error. Administrator Gail Hendricks stopped by the common room on a Tuesday afternoon. She stood watching the book club. Harlan, Nadine, Eunice, Ruthie, Delbert, Leroy, Wanda, 7 residents, meeting 3 times a week, always the same 7. "What are you reading?" Gail asked. Nadine held up a paperback. "Murder mystery." Gail smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She stopped at the nurse's station and said something to the head nurse. The nurse nodded and made a note. That night, Harlan's medication dosage increased. The nurse brought him 3 pills instead of 2. Harlan took them with water. The nurse watched him swallow. Then she left. Harlan went to the bathroom and spit the pills into his hand. He'd learned this from Eunice. "Put the pills under your tongue. Fake the swallow. Spit them out later." He flushed them down the toilet. The next morning, he taught the others. "They're increasing everyone's dosage," Harlan said during book club. "They know something's wrong, so they're trying to make us more compliant." "How long until your evaluation?" Nadine asked. 2 weeks. "We just need one more thing," Martin had said yesterday. "Proof that your children knew about the drugging. Right now, they can claim they were misled. We need evidence they were active participants." Harlan had an idea. Wayne was careful. He wouldn't say anything incriminating in person, but he might on the phone, if Harlan played it right. That afternoon, Harlan used Leroy's grandson's phone. He called Wayne. Wayne answered on the 3rd ring. "Hello? Wayne, it's Dad." Harlan kept his voice confused and uncertain. "Dad, you okay?" "I'm having trouble remembering things. The nurses said it's normal, but I can't think straight sometimes." Silence. Then Wayne's voice, careful and controlled. "That's okay, Dad. The medications are helping you. You just need to rest and let them work." Harlan felt ice in his chest. The medications. Wayne knew. "What medications?" Harlan asked, playing confused. "The ones the facility's giving you. Don't worry about it. The doctors know what they're doing." "But Wayne, I don't remember agreeing to new medications." "Dad, you're not thinking clearly. That's why you're there. Just trust the process. In a couple weeks, we'll get you evaluated and figure out the next steps." "Next steps?" "For your care. Long term, just relax, okay?" Harlan felt rage. Wayne knew about the medications. He knew about the evaluation. He knew all of it. "Okay, son," Harlan said quietly. "I'll trust the process." "Good. I'll see you next week." Wayne hung up. Harlan handed the phone back. "Did you get it?" The young man held up his own phone. He'd been recording. "Got every word." Martin had the recording by end of day. "This is it." He admitted he knows about the medications. Combined with everything else, this proves conspiracy. "When do we move?" "I'm filing an emergency motion tomorrow. State investigators need a few days to prepare. We're looking at next Monday for the raid." The competency evaluation was the following Wednesday. Cutting it close. "If Gail suspects you're onto her, she could try something desperate," Martin warned. "Isolate you. Increase medications to where you actually can't think straight. Move you to a different facility." "So what do I do?" "Play dumb. Act like the medications are working. Seem more confused. Make her think she's winning." Harlan thought about it. 50 years of organizing had taught him when to fight and when to wait. "I can do that," Harlan said. The next morning, Harlan shuffled into the common room instead of rolling efficiently. He stared at the television. When staff asked questions, he answered slowly. Eunice saw what he was doing. At book club, she whispered, "You're playing confused." "We all need to," Harlan said quietly. "We have 4 days until the raid. 4 days to stay invisible." They all started acting slower, foggier, more compliant. Gail noticed. Harlan saw her watching with satisfaction. She thought she was winning. She had no idea what was coming. 3 black sedans pulled up Monday morning. Men and women in business suits got out. They had badges and briefcases. State investigators, Adult Protective Services, a representative from the Attorney General's office. Harlan was in the common room when he saw them through the window. His heart started pounding. This was it. The lead investigator walked up to the front desk. "This facility is under investigation for elder abuse and financial exploitation. No one leaves the building. We have warrants to search the premises and interview staff and residents." Gail Hendricks came out of her office. Her face went white. "There must be some mistake." "Save it." The investigator handed her the warrant. "We have recordings, documents, and testimony. You can cooperate or be arrested for obstruction." Gail's hands shook as she read the warrant. 2 investigators went to her office. Others spread throughout the facility. One came to the common room and asked for Harlan Pritchard. Harlan raised his hand. "That's me." "I'm Investigator Chen. Your attorney Martin Jessup filed the complaint. We need you to identify the other witnesses." Harlan pointed to his group. "All of us. We have evidence. For the next 2 hours, they presented everything. The recordings played on a laptop. Staff admitting they adjusted medications, Gail telling someone to increase Harlan's dose, a nurse saying she gave unprescribed pills. Eunice provided medication logs documenting 17 residents given sedatives without justification. Ruthie showed the billing fraud. Nadine presented the legal connections. And Harlan played the recording of Wayne admitting he knew about the medications. In Gail's office, they found her computer. Emails going back 18 months. Families asking how long until they could access assets. Gail responding with timelines and fee schedules. One email from Wayne Pritchard stood out. How soon can we get him declared? We need access to the house equity ASAP. Buyer is waiting. Gail's response. Evaluation scheduled for the 20th. Should have paperwork finalized within a week. Your fee of $20,000 covers expedited processing. The investigator printed it and put it in an evidence folder. At 10 in the morning, Wayne's attorney called him, panicking. The nursing home is being raided. You need to get down there now. Wayne called Denise. They both rushed to Shady Pines. When they tried to enter, an investigator stopped them. Wayne Pritchard? Denise Martinez? You're subjects of a criminal investigation. We need you for questioning. What investigation? Denise's voice shook. We haven't done anything wrong. The investigator led them to a conference room. Harlan was already there, sitting at the table, completely lucid, completely calm. His coalition members sat behind him. Wayne stopped in the doorway. He stared at his father. For the first time in his life, he looked afraid of his father. Dad? Hello, Wayne. Denise. Harlan's voice was steady and cold. Have a seat. Dad, what's happening? You sounded so confused on the phone. I wasn't confused, Wayne. I was gathering evidence, like I taught you when you were 12. Harlan nodded to the investigator, who pulled up the recording. Wayne's voice filled the room. The medications are helping you. You just need to rest and let them work. Harlan's voice, plain confused. What medications? Wayne's response. The ones the facility is giving you. Don't worry about it. The recording stopped. Wayne's face went pale. That's out of context. I didn't mean. You meant exactly what you said. Harlan pushed a folder across the table. Your emails with Administrator Hendricks, planning the scheme, paying her $20,000 to drug me and expedite my competency evaluation, selling my house for $70,000 below market value. Denise started crying. Dad, we were desperate. We're losing our house. We didn't know what else to do. You could have asked me for help, Harlan said. You could have been honest. Instead, you partnered with criminals to steal from your own father. Wayne tried anger. You don't understand. We're your children. You owe us. I owed you a childhood, an education, values. I gave you all three. Harlan's voice didn't rise, but it cut like steel. You owe me nothing, but you decided to take everything anyway. For a moment, he saw them as children. Wayne at 8, asking Dad to fix his bike. Denise at 6, crying over a scraped knee. Then the moment passed. Those children were gone. The investigator stepped forward. You're both being charged with conspiracy to commit elder abuse, financial exploitation, and fraud. Administrator Hendricks is being arrested as we speak. 6 other families involved in similar schemes are being questioned. Denise collapsed in her chair, sobbing. Wayne stared at his father. How did you seemed so out of it. Harlan allowed himself a small, cold smile. I was a union organizer for 50 years. You think I don't know how to play a part? You thought you were stealing from a helpless old man. You forgot I spent my whole life fighting people more powerful than you. Investigators led Wayne and Denise out for formal questioning. Harlan sat in the conference room with his coalition. Nadine put her hand on his shoulder. You okay? Harlan thought about it. His own children had betrayed him, and he'd just watched them be led away in disgrace. No, he said honestly, but it's done. Eunice nodded. Justice isn't always happy. No, Harlan agreed, but it's still justice. By end of day, the facility was shut down. Residents were transferred to other facilities or returned to family who actually cared. Harlan chose an accessible apartment he'd found online. Most importantly, it was his choice. The power of attorney was revoked. His house sale was canceled. He had control of his life again. Wayne and Denise faced criminal charges. So did Gail and her staff. The law firm was being investigated. The other 6 families were being prosecuted. It was over. Except it wasn't. Because there were other facilities out there, other families doing the same thing, other elderly people being robbed. And Harlan wasn't done fighting yet. 6 months later, Harlan sat in a diner with his crew. Same booth every Wednesday. Nadine spread a newspaper across the table. Former nursing home administrator sentenced to 5 years. Gail got what she deserved, Eunice said. 5 years in federal prison. The facility's parent company filed for bankruptcy. All 7 locations shut down. What about your kids? Ruthie asked. Harlan took a sip of coffee. Wayne got 2 years probation and $50,000 in restitution. Denise got 18 months and $30,000. I'm donating it all to the Elder Advocacy Fund. You're not keeping any? Delbert asked. Don't need it. Got my house back. Got my savings. Got my independence. The money can help other people now. Wanda pointed to another article. The state passed new legislation. Nursing homes have to allow resident advocates, independent oversight, stricter medication protocols. Because of the 43 residents who joined the class action, Nadine corrected. We just started it. The lawsuit had settled for $8.2 million. Every victimized resident got compensation. Some got their homes back. Others got enough to live independently. A few had died, but their families got justice. Harlan's phone buzzed. A text from someone named Sarah. Can you meet tomorrow? My mother is in a facility and something feels wrong. That's the 5th one this week, Nadine said. She'd started a nonprofit, Elder Rights Advocacy. Harlan served on the board with Eunice, Ruthie, Delbert, Leroy, and Wanda. I'll meet her tomorrow, Harlan said. Nadine was testifying at the state legislature Thursday. Eunice was training volunteers to spot medication abuse. Ruthie was teaching families how to read billing statements. Delbert and Leroy were developing better facility inspections. Wanda was writing a handbook for families. They were all busy, busier than they'd been in years. You know what's funny? Harlan said. Wayne thought putting me in that place would end my life. Instead, it gave me a whole new one. You think you'll ever talk to him again? Eunice asked. Wayne had called twice, left messages apologizing. Harlan hadn't called back. Maybe someday, Harlan said, when he understands what he did, really understands it. Not just that he got caught, but that he tried to steal his own father's dignity. That might take a while, Nadine said. I've got time. The waitress brought their food. They ate and talked and planned. There was a facility in the next county. 3 families had complained. Similar patterns. It needed investigation. We're not retired anymore, are we? Wanda said with a smile. Harlan looked around the table. They'd met as victims. Now they were fighters, organizers, advocates. They'd taken their pain and turned it into purpose. No, he said. We're just getting started. After breakfast, they walked out into the sunshine. Harlan's accessible apartment was 3 blocks away. He was independent, healthy, and sharp as ever. His phone buzzed again. Another message from someone whose parent needed help. Harlan replied, I'll be there, because some fights choose you, and when they do, you either surrender or you organize. Harlan had never been good at surrendering. He rolled down the sidewalk toward home, already planning the next case. There was work to do. People who needed help. Families who thought they could get away with stealing from the vulnerable. They were about to learn otherwise. Harlan Pritchard was 71 years old. He'd spent 50 years fighting for workers' rights. Now, he was fighting for something even more personal. He wasn't stopping until every elderly person had someone who knew how to fight back, because the work had just begun. And this time, he had an army.